How is it going, everyone? It's K Limited here, and today we're going to be talking about Tamagotchi on the Game Boy. Now, the footage you're going to see on screen is, of course, recorded on the Retron, so I could actually get some footage for it. It's usually not this colorful. It's usually, pretty much black and white, with the exception of, the cutscene. When I put it in my Game Boy SP, the cutscene, the little UFO was red, but that was about the only color I saw. But the Retron 5 actually puts the sucker in color, so I thought that was actually kind of cool. But it's going to be most likely black and white if you're playing this in a lot of the other ways. So, I just want to throw that out before I even started. But Tamagotchi, if you don't know what Tamagotchi is basically a pet raising simulator. It was something that was really big back in the day. You could get these little, toys that they were digital pets, and you could just carry them around, take care of them. And they still sell them, actually, even to this day. And it's something that I think a lot of people are very nostalgic for, myself included. And when I found out that there was a Game Boy version of Tamagotchi, I did want to try it out immediately, and I'm glad I did. It's not the best game, I will say. If you are looking for a better version of Tamagotchi, a more refined version of Tamagotchi, I would actually suggest that you try Tamagotchi Forever on mobile phones and stuff like that. That game is actually way better. But that being said, for what it is, it's still not a bad game, and I did enjoy it. You start off the game by picking your egg. You pick your egg, it will hatch, and then you immediately start taking care of your Tamagotchi and raising it to adulthood. And you can do all sorts of things. You can play with your Tamagotchi. You can try to help the Tamagotchi get smarter. You can try to educate it by have it doing math and stuff like that. You can play ball with it. You can do this weird game where it's called the left-right game, and you just have to guess which way the Tamagotchi is going to face. And if you guess wrong, then the Tamagotchi gets really mad at you and makes an evil face at you. You can feed the Tamagotchi, and you're going to need to feed the Tamagotchi and take care of it, because if you don't, it will die. You don't want that to happen. And you just have to make sure that the Tamagotchi is enjoying life. You don't want a sad Tamagotchi. Also, your Tamagotchi can get sick, and it can die. And I'll be honest, I did kill a couple Tamagotchis playing through this. One of them, I wasn't sure what to do, because I'm pretty sure I overdosed a Tamagotchi towards the beginning of the game, okay? It got sick, and I just kept giving it medicine. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kept giving it medicine, and then it died. And I was just like, oh, okay, it's my fault. It's all, So the next one that got sick, I just gave it a couple doses of medicine, and I would just wait. And I was just like, okay, hopefully it will get better now. And then it still died. So I don't really know what happened. But Tamagotchis can die in this game. It's a very sad one to do. Actually, if I'm being honest, it's actually really scary when they do. The screen starts flashing at you, and it's really creepy looking. And there's actually some creepy stuff in this game. I'm going to be honest. At one point I was taking care of one of the other Tamagotchis, and another Tamagotchi just starts staring in the window at one of them. I was just like, what in the world is going on here? There's some really just odd stuff here. And, you raise your Tamagotchis, and you hope that they end up to be, adorable ones when they're fully evolved or whatever. You're hoping for an adorable Tamagotchi, and you can set the speed for how they grow. I picked the fastest setting because, the baby Tamagotchis are kind of boring. There's nothing really interesting about them. They're pretty generic. But then once they actually get to full-size adulthood, that's when they actually become unique. So I was just like, okay, I want an adorable Tamagotchi. Let's turn it to fast mode. And the very first adult Tamagotchi I got was this Bendy and the Ink Machine looking motherfucker. And let me tell you, I put him in some tournaments. You can do tournaments in this. As soon as he failed that tournament, I launched him back to his home planet. I did not want that thing. That thing was creepy. It had, sharp teeth. It was, smiling at me, looking weird. It has its creepy eyes, and it was the one that was looking in the window. I do not like that one. No. That is a bad Tamagotchi. I got rid of that one, and I raised 2 other Tamagotchis instead. And you can raise 3 Tamagotchis at the same time, but when you do that, it becomes very chaotic. You are constantly swapping different screens and trying to take care of each Tamagotchi, and it can become quite a handful very quickly. The tournaments I was talking about, that is all related to the training that you do with your Tamagotchi. So when you play ball with your Tamagotchi, you're training it physically. When you are doing the math tests with the Tamagotchi, you're training it mentally. And basically, you can enter it into different tournaments. You can enter it into sports tournaments. You can enter it into basically quiz tournaments and stuff like that. And your Tamagotchi will basically just try to win those tournaments. And I will say, the one thing I don't really care too much about in this game is that you don't really have full control over the Tamagotchi whenever you're doing certain things. When you play ball with the Tamagotchi, the whole point is to have this Tamagotchi, go and catch the ball over and over again. And he can move on his own. So if you jump one way, he can also just decide to jump the other way and completely miss the ball if he wants. So that is something to keep in mind. You don't have full control. They kind of do what they want. And it goes for it's the same way with the math game. You can see the answer for the math problem. I don't even know if you can honestly control them during the math problem. I tried to give them suggestions by moving my joystick in the right direction, or the arrow buttons. I try to move the arrow buttons in the right direction, just hoping that I can kind of like persuade the Tamagotchi to get the correct answer. Instead, the Tamagotchi just ignores me and goes to the wrong answer instead. And then he makes another angry face at me, like I did something wrong. But either way, I wish that you had a bit more control over it, but I get why you don't have more control over it, because at the end of the day, it is a pet raising simulator. Pets have to do what they have to do. They're going to have a mind of their own in a way, so I get that. The other stuff that you need to keep in mind in this game is that your Tamagotchis will take dumps, so you need to try to... I didn't actually realize that you could put a toilet underneath them, but if you press the flush button, you can actually put a toilet beneath them right before they poop. But if you don't, then they just poop on the floor, and then you just press the flush button anyway, and it will just clean it up. So that's another thing you can do. I actually do enjoy this game, though. For the most part, other than the creepy moments, and there's actually a couple creepy moments, the game is pretty cute. It is kind of adorable. It's freaky when they die. It's freaky when that one starts looking in my window. But overall, I did enjoy this game. I think that's a fun game, and I enjoyed taking care of the Tamagotchis. You know, I don't know, again, it's definitely not the most polished version of Tamagotchi, but if you're looking for a retro version of Tamagotchi, if you're just looking to collect anything Tamagotchi, this is probably something that you should pick up and consider if you are a fan of this stuff, or if you're just looking for a cheap way to play it, because this game is not very expensive. You can usually pick it up for around $10, and that's actually cheaper than getting a full-on, like, Tamagotchi from the store, so... And this way you can raise a bunch of different ones. So just keep that in mind. It's not perfect. It definitely has its issues. It's creepy in some ways, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it for the most part, and I think that most Tamagotchi fans would probably enjoy this game. So go check out Tamagotchi. Be careful when you raise it. Don't feed it too much snacks. You can probably kill it that way too. Be very careful while raising it. If you get sick of your Tamagotchi, launch it back into space from wherever it came from. You can send it back home, and you can start raising another Tamagotchi. It's great. So there we go. And keep away from that Bendy and the Ink Machine looking one. That guy is creepy. All right, I'll talk to you in the next one. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.